Well, hello again, guys. Welcome to my channel Art Hub. Today we have a very special guest, an amazing artist. So let's welcome together Robert Nix. Look at this amazing line art, these amazing colors, his amazing taste in working with slick, dynamic, and very impressive line art. Well, hello, Robert.
Hey, what's up?
Well, please tell us about yourself, Robert.
Well, I'm a middle-aged white male. I have two pets. I like to play video games. I like movies. I like to cook. I like to draw.
Tell us about your projects, cons you have visited, attended to, the books you have worked on, your intentions and your goals.
I worked on like a few smaller indie titles, a few Kickstarters, Sharpshooter, Turnkey, Miss Matchmaker, I think it's called. Most recently, I did Bass Force with Chris Tamasma. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but yeah. And then I mostly do like smaller commissions on the side, like just basically individual character art. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Well, great. Well, we want to know more about your experience with line art and how did Clip Studio Paint help you to improve it?
Well, growing up, I used to ink on paper, and I just started doing once I got Clip, or I think it was called something else back then. I forget. It just really streamlined the process. I didn't have to scan my lines anymore. I didn't have to worry about like buying sketchbooks or buying markers. I used to use what are they called? Copics or something? Oh, Micron. Sorry, Micron. Sorry, I used to use those. But yeah, Clip Studio just makes it really streamlined and easy. It's really responsive, and you get really clean lines with it compared to Photoshop, at least from my experience.
Yeah, it appears we all like how you make your line art.
Oh, thank you.
This style. Well, thanks to you. Well, here is a question from our audience. Why is line art is so hard to do or make?
Um, that's something like I've thought about a lot actually, and I think it's because you have to be. It's very bold, like compared to like painting. You have to be very like each line has to count. It has to be very precise. It has to have meaning to the overall picture. And like if you're not if you're doing like traditional, you know, you mess up. It's like you're screwed basically. But yeah, there's like a lot of thought you have to put into it. Like you got to think about the weight. You got to think about the curves, like how clean you want the lines to be. Like it all makes a difference in the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another question from the audience. Tips and tricks to master line art. The secret recipe of Robert Nix.
I mean, it takes a while. You gotta practice and learn what works for you. And it's I think one of the most important things is learning to control your lines. Like I said, you got to make each line count. Like just like one curve or like one little wobble in it, you know, could throw the whole thing off.
When I used to teach students, I usually told them to hold the pen from left to right and make about 100 lines, then make 100 circles, then wavy lines. Is this fine good to the students? Does this help them to improve and make them full control on their art line? Because I think that line art is the result between combining the full control of mind, nerves, the hand muscles, the arm muscles, the shoulders, and your fingers. Is that the way you think too? Is that what you believe in?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that you just said. I think like any type of practice, like just drawing circles, drawing lines, like even like tracing and practicing like your line weight. on like a real photo or something, like just drawing over it. I think it all contributes.
Is there a rule that most of inkers follow while they are inking a specific page of comic or character design? Is there a rule that they make to make their lines look dynamic as you do?
You know what? That's something I'm still learning myself. I usually stick to inking over my own stuff, so that's my most experience inking. And whenever I ink, I always think about also how I'm going to color it. So, um, like, if I'm going to focus on the colors more, then I can focus less on the lines. But if I have like really good like line art, like really dynamic line art with like the bold blacks and stuff, it makes coloring easier.
What brushes do you use and how do you make those amazing tempering lines?
I basically just use the ones that came with the program. It's under pin and it's the mapping pin. And I think that pretty much gives me most of what I need. But then when I want more like straight, like more even, like mechanical lines, for maybe like backgrounds or just like symbols or like patterns, I use the G pin, which is a little bit less dynamic. So you get like more straight, less variation in your lines.
Well, here we got another one telling me I am at that stage where I'm not a beginner, but I'm not really good yet either at drawing.
I mean, that's probably where I am right now. I mean, you're always I think it's always good to be in a place where you're always doubting yourself and learning. So maybe that's a good thing. Just keep practicing.
So we are going to tell this dude to keep practicing.
Yeah, always be open to new things, and I mean, always practice.
Practice like drawing gestures, portraits, limbs, other stuff like this, right?
I mean, I've been drawing for like my whole life, and I still do those things. So yes.
Yeah, it's very impressive how they level up and make any artist improve very fast than you ever seen.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just draw all the time, draw every day. And like if a picture sucks, like if you're having trouble with a picture, like don't be afraid to just throw it away and start over again. Like start with what you learned from it. So.
What is the hardest thing you always face when you start drawing or making art?
I really hate drawing backgrounds and like doing perspectives. So that's one of the things I either try and avoid completely.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. And like that's one of the most important things like when you're doing comic book pages, because it like draws your eye like around the page and to the characters. So yeah, that's one of the things like I struggle with still, but I guess that would be it. Like I think I have a pretty good grasp on like drawing people and anatomy so far. So mainly just backgrounds.
We want your advice to the audience. So what you're going to tell to the audience?
I think I've said it like a few times already. You just need to be dedicated. Like if you want to get better, you have to dedicate yourself to it. You have to practice like every day. Mainly, if you want to make money off of it, I would focus on getting to a point where you can draw good, but also draw fast.
True.
Because I see a lot of people, they take like a week or weeks on like a picture, and like if you're taking that long, you're basically wasting money. Like if you think of it as like getting paid by the hour. So I think one of the things I like, one of the things I got good at is working on a style that's streamlined but also looks decent. So yeah, but in general, just like practice, like always keep your mind open, second guess yourself, and yeah, just study and draw every day.
Well, your thoughts about the indie industry and its future. This is our last question. What's your thoughts about the indie industry and its future?
I mean, I think it's always going to be there. I think there's always talented people that are gonna make it big through the indie industry. There's a, I mean, it's kind of a very open-ended question.
Yeah. Well, actually, I asked many other professional artists that already have worked with Marvel and DC. They told me that the future is for the indie industry, because even Alan Moore said it on the internet. Said that the future is for the indie industry of comics, because as we see now, characters in Marvel, the ones we love, are getting die here and there.
Are they talking about kind of how like that Safe Space and what's the other one? Safe Space and Snowflake from Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are they talking about how like politics and stuff are like kind of invading like mainstream comics or something?
It's like they're working for an agenda.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. I mean, you choose your own path. If you want to, you write whatever you want. Like, I don't mind. That's why I like indie comics, because basically you can do whatever you want and find your own audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just like a pure like free market, and there's a lot of people who find like huge success doing indie comics. So I think it's a viable route. I think it's like depending on your temperament and your goals, it's more viable than working for mainstream comics.
That's cool. That's so
and plus,
cool,
I kind of think that like mainstream comics like DC and Marvel, like there's nothing new there. It's just like the same stories repeated over and over again.
Totally agree.
Like how many times can how many times can Superman die, Spider-Man die, Aunt May die, and then they bring him back? Like
the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, and then you also have like 60 years of like continuity you got to learn. I just think there's more like diversity, there's more excitement in the indie community right now.
Oh, yeah, that's so right. Well,
and I think there's lots of money in it too, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
yeah.
Many thanks, Robert. Many thanks for you for listening to us while making this amazing interview with Robert Nix. Actually, I enjoyed it so much, and probably you all too. Well, stay tuned for more. So if you like this interview, please stay tuned for more and subscribe. Well, many thanks again, and goodbye.